Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Queen of Coins Tarot, YouTube's least camera-ready channel, but y'all know that. We are meeting at the back gate. I have to light some incense today, so I'm putting it in my candle. My new holder hasn't arrived yet, but today's going to be a big reading, so I need to have a candle or an incense. I think that's what I want. Okay, you guys, you sent me a lot of great questions. So we're going to try to get to some of those. But first, I want to say welcome to all of you. I enjoy you being here. This is so much fun for me. I enjoy being with you. Thank you for everyone who's been writing, telling me about your upcoming procedures and what you're doing and whatnot. That really means a lot to me because it allows me to plan healing services for y'all. And the one I did yesterday, there was a lot of noise from mowers and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to get another one in this weekend. This is the Queen of Coins Tarot. I don't know anything. We're just meeting at the back gate and coming on in. Y'all got to come into my parlor today because it's too stinking hot. So I want to show y'all something that I'm very, very grateful of. Now, I don't know. You hear it? It's a lawnmower. I'm telling you, it's like all of a sudden I start taping and the lawnmower starts up. Somebody wrote and said between the lawnmowers around my house and the ones at hers, it nearly deafened her. I understand. I get it. So you guys, I got a report today from YouTube, which surprised me because I've never gotten one before because my channel is new. And it says that I have, that 623.1 thousand hours of my content has been watched. That cannot be right. It just can't. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of hours. But there's a little note at the bottom that says, wow, great work. Remember to keep your well-being in mind and establish a sustainable schedule. I appreciate them being worried about my mental health, but y'all remember I took 3 days off when I was trying to get my computer unfried and buy a new one and go through all that drama, and I'm still not monetized because I turned it off because I could, I didn't know how long it was going to be before I could be up and running again. At one point we thought it was going to be a month to get the bigger computer, so and so I just went ahead and got the smaller one because I wanted to be back here doing this with y'all. But if this is true, and it's got to be for, I think I started on July 15th, but I'm not sure. June 15th. I don't remember, but this must be from the full time I've been on here. It says, here's how your channel did in July. So anyway, point being, unless they've made some awful mistake, y'all have really been very supportive, and I wanted to thank you for that. I mean, it's huge. It means so much to me. So I made a weird mistake. I'm going to go ahead and shut this window because I can tell. See, I can't trust it. The mowers have gotten quiet. I keep the window open because my little doggy comes in here, and I don't like the incense being so strong in here. So much to talk about, and y'all sent me some great questions. We really stirred up something yesterday with the whole Marcus and the kitchen thing. So y'all sent in a lot of really cool questions. So I'm going to try to get to some today. But first thing I want to say is one of y'all pointed out, and this is why I left this reading out, in the position of, does the royal family know about the fact that Harry wasn't allegedly celebrating Meghan's birthday with her? I pulled this up, and I was like reading it like it was a rare blue lobster. For some reason, that's what came to my mind. Well, as somebody pointed out, it's quite clearly a scorpion. Scorpio, King Charles, like, he would have definitely known, right? So I just thought that was really interesting. I stand by this reading yesterday because it came out really, really even though I didn't have the right dates for Marcus's birthday, and I find it really amazing that if you look that up on YouTube or on the internet, it doesn't tell you. Like it doesn't, it guesses maybe 77, maybe 78, and maybe he was born, I think, in like Peterborough, Canada or whatever. But this was the card that I pulled for him and Meghan. And as you can see, even though not a Gemini, it's definitely a two-headed monster, and that's what they are. So I want to double check. I'm going to do a couple readings right now, so settle in with your tea. But I was listening to Celtic Cross Anon this morning, and anyway, good catch. Whoever wrote me and said that was a blue scorpion, that was huge. I really appreciate it. That's the kind of thing I really rely on from my community. I really enjoy y'all pointing things out and what you think is going on. I just think that's how we get closer to the truth. Okay, so I was listening to Celtic Cross Anon this morning, and she was saying that King Charles isn't worried about Harry after his death because he's already been provided for. There'll be a house, there'll be this, there'll be that. So he's not worried, even though Prince William might not be so inclined to do anything. So I actually have the Mythic Tarot that she uses. Why is this not coming apart? I'm gonna have to get to you later. I'm going to look at it and see if I get the same answers, or at least, I mean, maybe not the very same answers, because, of course, when I ask the question, it looks differently, but, because I won't be able to use the same words that she did, but I just want to see, is that true? And then we're going to move into Shawn's comments on this very topic, which I thought were really interesting. And then later we're gonna, I knew it, I can't trust them. It's almost like there's radar, like as soon as I start taping and talking to y'all, then somebody moves in. Anyway, this is the Queen of Queens Tarot. I don't know anything, it's just for fun speculation. Allegedly, I don't know a thing, but where could you have so much fun unless you were having lunch with Meghan Markle yourself? Okay, so money for Harry. I want to see if I get anything close to the same cards. We're going to talk about some other things later on. Y'all brought up what you want to know about the divorce, if there's a divorce incoming, if there's anything in the works. We were thinking yesterday that maybe Harry was somewhere in England, so we're going to see. Okay, and some other topics. Okay, those will have to come later in the afternoon. I have to take my doggy to the vet. Okay, so money for Harry. Is Prince Charles worried about Harry after he's gone? Is he worried about Harry's money and finances and living situation after he's gone? Is Charles worried at all? Does Charles worry about what will happen to Harry after he's gone? Let's find out. This is just going to be a one-card reading. Oh, sorry guys. There you go. Oh, speaking of doggies, so sorry to Lady C. She lost her beloved Mickey yesterday, and I mean, we all know how that feels when you lose a pet, so I'm very sorry for her. So, just passed away silently in her sleep. So, I mean, that's a blessing. Is King Charles worried at all about Harry's finances after he passes, after King Charles passes? Page of Cups in reverse, and the Lovers in reverse. Ooh, he might be a little afraid that Meghan might get a hold of something. Let's see. Is King Charles worried about Harry's finances and living situation after King Charles's death? The Moon in reverse. That That is not the card that Celtic Cross Anon got, but remember, she would have asked the question differently because I don't know the exact way she asked the question. So that's a card of mystery. May I have a clarifier, please, for that? Tarot, Holy Spirit, Great. May I have a clarifier? The Hierophant. That's King. That's the Firm. May I have a clarifier, please? Three of Swords in reverse. Of course, the Three of Swords is betrayal. And in reverse, you're hoping for less of a betrayal, or you think a situation is mending. The Hierophant is the Firm, or the Monarchy, as you might say. I'm feeling Meghan's energy on this. He's hoping Meghan may be gone from the family. And then the Firm could take care of Harry. Now, she asks for the underlying energy. So I'm going to ask for what is the underlying energy of King Charles's feelings towards Harry's care after he's gone, after Prince Charles's death. What is the underlying energy of this reading, please? The Two of Wands in reverse. In case you're not familiar with the Mythic Tarot. There's a figure in the background. Two of Wands in reverse. This is almost like a cave that this person is coming out of, like a burial cave. And I know there's lots of little caves in the countryside in England and whatnot, but he's definitely trying to provide a housing situation satisfactory to Harry. In reverse, he's not going to rely on William. Not that he thinks William would hurt Harry, but Charles has already planned to take care of it himself. Which, I mean, parents do that, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, now moving on, what we're going to read on is Shawn comes at this from a very different angle. He says, and this is a different way of looking at it. Shawn said in his article last night that Harry is in some hot butter with the whole Sentabali Sophie Chandaka issue, that there will be money that is going to end up being owed for that lawsuit. And that Sophie's very wealthy. She has no reason to settle. Remember, Meghan Markle gave her the cold shoulder and tried to mean girl her, as she always does. But Sophie wasn't having it because she was the one. But the very fact that Sophie had to say, that because of Harry's behavior and whatnot, their donations and stuff had dried up, and then so now there's this lawsuit and one thing and another against Sophie. Well, of course, the donations have not been coming in very good, apparently, according to Shawn. Allegedly speculation for Invictus. Well, why would you give money when you know it all goes on Meghan Markle's back? I mean, you know, she spends the money on herself. So I get it. I mean, it's just nobody wants to, I would guess. I mean, that would be my thought. Well, Shawn says that William will be watching this very, very closely because he knows that at the end of the day, he thinks the people will look badly upon this if Harry ends up without any money and without a home. So Shawn says that William knows he's going to get all the bills. And that indeed is why, Meghan Markle has stated that she thinks the Duchy of Cornwall should be split between the two brothers. So we're going to look at this. William's feelings. Oh, the tower. Send him to the tower. We're going to look at William's feelings about Harry's finances and Harry's feelings about Harry's finances. We're going to look at money. Who's going to pay? I mean, what does Harry owe a lot? I mean, what's the situation around Harry's finances? I want to look at his expenses. Does he have a ton of expenses? Justice in reverse. I want to know, would the public want him to be cared for the rest of his life by William? I want to know what's coming for Harry and his finances. I want to know what King Charles thinks about, giving money to Harry. Does he think that this is the way it should be? I want to know what Meghan thinks. I want to know what Princess Anne thinks, because she's so frugal. Strength, Six of Swords in reverse. And I want to know what the likely outcome is. I mean, Harry doesn't do anything, and Meghan certainly didn't. And I cannot imagine, in most jobs, you go into a job and they put you on probation for 90 days, typically, to try you out, kind of, and give each of you a chance to say, this isn't going to work for us. Meghan served the people 82 days, so I can't imagine. But apparently this is the way royalty works. I don't know. Let's find out. All right. Harry's feelings about Harry's money and William's feelings about Harry's finances. The money, the actual money. The expenses. Would the public like him to be paid for? Coming Harry's finances. What does King Charles think? What does Princess Anne think? What does Meghan think? Oops. Transformation. Changes are coming for sure. All right, let's see what they are. Again, this is the Queen of Coins Tarot. I welcome y'all here. Y'all mean a lot to me. Your support. It's just been amazing. Harry. William being the cross. The money. Tell us about the money. Oh, this is the Wizard's Tarot deck. The expenses. Would the public want Harry to be paid for? Would they feel sorry for him if Harry didn't have any place to live after Charles is gone? Coming for Harry's finances. What does King Charles think? What does Meghan think? Besides the fact that she wants that money. Crown Royal Princess Anne, Princess Royal Anne, and the outcome. All right, underlying energy, Page of Pentacles in reverse. Let's think about that because that's in reverse. Seven of Pentacles. Working on growing a harvest. Lots of stories. Lots of poor me, poor me. No doubt from Harry's point of view. And the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. This would be wealth. Your harvest. But in reverse, it's kind of cold. It's kind of fallow or winter. Okay, let's find out. 8th dimensional oil, for those of y'all who were curious. All right, Harry's feelings about money, or his money, his personal situation. Transformation. Woof, something's got to give. Something's gonna give. That disturbs me for the center of the reading. So, transformation being death. There's white roses all around it and a skull. And he's dressed like a eagle or some kind of mythical creature. What does William think? 8 of Swords in reverse. I've always looked at this as Meghan, but as you can see with the 8 of Swords in reverse, these are not good cards, kids. He definitely thinks there's trouble in Moneyland. I'm feeling like he's, blaming it on Meghan. But that's not true, because it takes 2 to tango, 2 hands to clap. And Harry backs her. But we're going to read later on about a possible divorce in the next video when I get back from the doctor, the vet doctor. Tell me about Harry's money. What's going on? The Initiate. The Fool. Woof. He's needing a new beginning. Why are we having all these? He needs a new beginning. Show me his expenses, please. 6 of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, he owes a lot of money. Giving. It's giving in regular upright. Somebody. Do you see how this gentleman or this person is giving money to these other two? That's what they want from William. Shawn was further elaborating, saying, Meghan couldn't believe when she went into the royal family and realized that money just didn't grow on trees. Just because you have these ancient paintings and ancient jewels and whatnot, it doesn't mean that there's tons and tons of money everywhere, that they try to be very frugal. And she wanted to keep the designer frocks and this and that, and she thought there'd be endless money, and then she found out that the weight of the money was William, and she tried sucking up to him and met a stone wall. Remember the scarfing when she tried to? So would the public want Harry taken care of by William? 4 of Swords in reverse. 4 of Swords upright is, you're sick, you're ill, you're on your deathbed. No. Typically in reverse, sometimes you can read it as, maybe a little, but they don't necessarily agree that after King Charles is gone, that William should provide for his housing and his Harry's housing and money, and to stump up for everything, especially if Lamarcus there. Am I reading this right? Fire, great king. What's the coming condition of Harry's finances? Page of Cups. So this is when your ships come in over high seas. This makes me think that his father's leaving him a lot of money. And that's why Charles isn't worried. But he's also got backers. And because this is a page, and this is a page, I'm thinking, if nothing else, Charles wants those kids taken care of. What does King Charles actually think about the state of Harry's finances? King of Pentacles in reverse. Of course, this is King Charles for me now. In reverse, it would be William. I don't think he's looking for William, to count on William to do a whole lot. But I also feel a little bit of resentment that he feels like he has said before he's not a bank. And Elton John has made some comment about not being an ATM. But I'm feeling like he also tries to understand that Harry is not married to a woman that is cautious about money. I think it's going to be some kind of trust situation. I just don't think he's going to, die and pass along, $500 million to equal things up between Harry and William. What does Meghan think is going to happen? The Magician. She's going to get everything she wants. But it's going to be interesting when we read later on about whether there's a possible divorce. There's even Lily's in here. She thinks she's going to get everything she wants when King Charles dies. And the sooner the better. Sorry. The sooner the better. In fact, she's trying to manifest it. Because the sooner but you see, it's weird because inheritance in America isn't part of a spouse's, like when my husband's father died, none of that money would accrue to me if we got divorced. You have no rights to it. I don't know how it is in England, so one of y'all will have to chime in. What does Princess Anne think about Harry's finances, the High Priestess? He makes an awful lot of it disappear. And his wife, who often shows up as the High Priestess because of the secretive energy, that she makes a lot of it disappear. It's interesting that we have these powerful arcana together, the Magician and the High Priestess, 1 and 2. Also, I'm reading the Initiate as the Fool, so 0. King of Pentacles in reverse. Transformation. Transfiguration. Not transformation, transfiguration. Did I read that wrong earlier? I still feel like it's transformation. but transfiguration would be rising from the ashes and phoenix-like. So that mythical creature would be Phoenix. That's Harry. He's hoping for a boost from his brother. Exactly. And William is the Eight of Swords in reverse regarding Harry's finances. I think if Meghan wasn't on the scene, he'd be tending to be more generous. What's the outcome? Ace of Wands in reverse. It may not be as magical as Meghan and Harry are hoping. I'm really curious to do that divorce reading now, because one of y'all wrote and said that it's possible, and I think you may have heard it somewhere, that the divorce is already being worked on. And we know he wasn't there for her birthday. Allegedly, speculation. Okay, so Page of Swords, underlying energy. Ace of Swords in reverse, which is truth, but in reverse. And then the Page of Wands in reverse. This is a rather mystery-looking card, but did I get all the pages? 1, 2, 3, 4. Guys, we got all the pages. Reverse, upright, reverse, and upright. So the swords and the cups were upright. If we knew the true dates of Archie's birth, because there was so much flim-flam around that whole thing, I couldn't trust his birth date. I mean, Page of Wands in reverse. Around the Ace of Swords. Oh. Remember the other day when we were reading? Lily showed up as the Page of Swords. Here she is again. In the middle, the Sword of Truth, which is in reverse. And then the Page of Wands, which is Egyptian, in reverse. But I'm wondering if these two children together with the sword in the middle in reverse is not telling us that we're never going to know the truth about those kids. Why would Archie be in reverse? Why? The Magician, the High Priestess, King of Pentacles in reverse. 4 of Swords in reverse. 6 of Pentacles in reverse. That's no generosity or no money. 4, the expenses, the initiate. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. 7 of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles in reverse. 9 of Pentacles. Money. Page of 7 of Pentacles. Well, I can see William doesn't really want to pay while Meghan is around. In fact, I don't think Princess Anne thinks it's a good idea either. Meghan thinks she's about to get everything she wants. If not for other aspects of King Charles's reign, I would laugh and hope he was living for another 10 or 15 years. But the fact that it's feeling like the thought process, according to Neil Shawn, is that if William doesn't help Harry, that he will be looked at a sconce is just going to lead people to say that he's being blackmailed. Just like Charles. That's what everybody believes, that Meghan's got something on him. I would not suggest that that be a route William go down, but I'm not a prince of the realm, and I'm not a future king, and nobody's asking my opinion. Transfiguration. I wouldn't go down that route. This Ace of Wands in reverse is suspicious to me. It makes me suspicious. You know what? Can I have a clarifier on that, please? Can we please have a clarifier on the Ace of Wands in reverse as a outcome? Ace of Wands in reverse. What does that mean? Can we have a clarifier? I would so love to know more about that card. What does that mean? Oh my God. Can you please fill me in? Knight of Swords. Well, that's often hairy for me. Because he's always rushing in to thinking he's the dragon slayer. Knight of Swords. He's going to get everything he wants. He will be taken care of. She may not get specifically to $1 billion like she wants, but they do have powerful backers, and he is going to be taken care of, and he is going to be taken care of by his father. I don't know how they're going to lock that up, because Meghan runs all their finances. And knowing her, he'd be broke within, you know, there's going to have to be some airtight something. And it probably will have to come through William's hands as maybe an allowance or something from the trust. King of Pentacles in reverse. It's going to have to come through William. Maybe from a set aside from Pa. I'm not saying it's going to be the Duchy of Cornwall. I'm saying I think Pa will leave him sufficient through his own means, and perhaps let William administer it. And I think he trusts William to do that. And I see no reason to think that William would not. As long as it's coming from Pa and not from the duchy, I think William would be okay with that. So that's the reading for now. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, will you please like, subscribe, join me again on the next one. I really appreciate all y'all's support. I don't know that those viewing hours are correct, but it sure does give me a little bit of a boost to think that my readings are resonating with y'all, and the healing sessions are helpful to you, and I really appreciate that. I'm going to try to be back again later to do, I want to get in a healing session this weekend, and I want to do some readings on some of the questions y'all sent me. I've written them down. The divorce, oh, and the Al-Fayeds. One of y'all had a question about that I thought was maybe, you know, something I could get in today or maybe this weekend. So I'm hopeful to be back. In the meantime, tell a friend, drag them into the parlor, tell them we're a lot of fun. We're, you know, you can't have this much fun unless you know, pay for it. And here it's free, at least for this month until I get remonetized. But I'm glad for y'all, because why not? I mean, everybody needs a place to laugh, and it certainly benefits me. So I'm grateful to YouTube for worrying about my mental health, because apparently, I guess they say I did 80 videos. I don't know. I just come in here and have fun. And y'all don't seem to mind the dog barking and the children and the mowers and dinner being made in the background. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. It really is. I enjoy this with y'all. So I will see you again later. And please join me for the next one. Bye-bye, y'all.